Hey there everyone, today is another magical day, and in today's video we're going to go over some of those attractions that have lasted through the ages. Some of these have been around since the opening of Walt Disney World. Let's jump in. The first one is the Jungle Cruise. The Jungle Cruise officially had its first day on the first day of operation of Magic Kingdom itself, October 1st, 1971. The ride was modeled after Disneyland's Riverboat Cruise, which opened in 1955. The Jungle Cruise simulates that riverboat cruise down several major rivers of Asia, Africa, and South America. Walt Disney himself had a big part in the attraction, of course, and it actually brought about the original idea of making sure that they were plussing all of the attraction. It's a term that's still used, I believe, in Imagineering, and when they plus the attractions, they make them even better. The story is told that a mother was going with their child, and Walt was nearby apparently, or someone was nearby, and heard that, they've already been on that ride, they don't need to go again. And so the idea of plussing the attractions and making them even better apparently was born. Every single year the Jungle Cruise has an overlay of the Jingle Cruise, which is themed for the holidays, as you may expect, with jokes that go along the way. One of the most famous parts, of course, of the Jungle Cruise are the skippers themselves, the captains of those boats who are telling those great jokes as you go along. The next one on our list is the Liberty Square Riverboat. The Liberty Square Riverboat opened on Magic Kingdom's opening day, October 1st, 1971, and is a large paddle-wheeled riverboat called the Liberty Belle that navigates the waters around Tom Sawyer Island and Fort Langhorne. It's a 17-minute boat ride where guests have the opportunity to kind of move about the ship as they would like and see some of the sights around them. There are noises from the captain on board and the engineer who are working on the boat. As you're going around, you're hearing about the wilderness, the American frontier, all of these different stories along the way, and you'll even see some sights along the way. It kind of ties in with Big Thunder Mountain. You can kind of see it on the side there. It's really, really cool. A little bit of Disney history here. The Mark Twain Riverboat at Disneyland is where Walt and Lillian Disney celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary. How cool is that? For those who are keeping track, that was in 1955. Next up, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean, which was officially the last attraction that Walt Disney himself helped to create. Pirates of the Caribbean opened at Disneyland March 18th, 1967, 3 months prior to Walt's passing. Believe it or not, Pirates of the Caribbean apparently was supposed to originally be a walk-through museum-style attraction, but Walt decided to switch it up kind of at the last minute there after he saw the success of It's a Small World at the World's Fair. Instead of a walk-through attraction, we know it as the amazing boat ride that it is, and since its debut at the Magic Kingdom, it has definitely seen some updates. It has changed and adapted over the years. Some guests love the updates, some guests prefer the original. No matter how you feel, you gotta say yo-ho when you're on board Pirates of the Caribbean. One of the major updates to the Pirates of the Caribbean, of course, was the addition of Captain Jack Sparrow and the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie, which leads to a very interesting thought process. You've got the ride, which inspires the movie, which re-inspires the ride. Always fun to think about. Next up, we've got It's a Small World, and Walt Disney himself was commissioned by UNICEF to create It's a Small World. Disney Imagineers created It's a Small World from hundreds of animatronic dolls and dressed all of them up to appropriately match all of their respective countries. I know it's easy for us to talk about, but when you look back at the history, Disney Imagineers took meticulous care to make sure that the colors were just right for the country, and to make sure that the posture of the doll was just right for the country. They made sure that it was as close as possible to the real thing. Next up, we've got to talk about the Carousel of Progress. This is an attraction that Disney was working on for the 1964-65 World's Fair, and is actually one of the oldest attractions at the Magic Kingdom. The attraction was originally made for General Electric. They wanted to showcase some of their products, but now it's been adapted to what we know today. This 21-minute audio animatronic attraction was apparently one of Walt Disney's crowning achievements, one that he was extremely proud of, not only because it showed the same family over several different decades, but in the theater, you are moving. The animatronics stay still, more or less. They're staying in the same stage, and instead of the stage moving or screen moving, you move. to the different decades. So cool. There are some guests who feel like it should not be changed one bit. There are others who feel like the last scene should be updated to kind of incorporate cell phones and other things that we have now. And there are some who feel like it should be totally redone. No matter how you feel about it, Carousel of Progress is a classic at Walt Disney World. If you're asking me, I think that that very last scene should be updated just a little bit. Not that much, just a little bit. Everything else should remain the same. That's me. Next up, we've got the Country Bear Jamboree. The Country Bears have been playing strong for almost 50 years at the Magic Kingdom, with very few changes to it, with Big Al and Trixie and all of your favorite friends like Wendell, and there is a small holiday overlay. There is, that they get during the holidays. Besides that, it's always the same and always a lot of fun. Rip-roaring time for the whole family. Believe it or not, still does get a crowd every so often. The next one is where the birds sing words and the flowers croon. You've got to be in Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. There are several pictures of Walt Disney himself working on the Enchanted Tiki Room, making sure that it's all set for guests, and you can see his love of animatronics. And believe it or not, you can go to the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, where we went, and play with an audio animatronic bird and learn how the animators kind of made them talk. So cool. For those who have been to Disney for many years, you may recall that Iago came in for a little while and took over the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management, but that didn't last for too long. We're back to the original, better than ever. More often than not, it's usually still a full house inside the Enchanted Tiki Room at Walt Disney World. Goes to show its popularity over more than 50 years. The next one on our list takes us all the way to Neverland, Peter Pan's flight, which comes from Disneyland. These magical boats pick you up and take you over London and Neverland. A ton of fun for the entire family, and its popularity is well known simply because when you go to Walt Disney World, almost any time of the year, you're going to find at least a 45-hour wait for Peter Pan's flight. More than 50 years, still an hour wait. That's impressive. The next attraction is not quite as old as some of the others, but Space Mountain has been around since 1975. Inspired by Disneyland's Matterhorn, this very special mountain has been blasting guests off into space since its earliest days. Opening over 2 years prior to Space Mountain in Disneyland, it has been inspiring guests for a long time. A completely dark roller coaster, and during the holidays and Halloween, you can find a special overlay, which is relatively new for Walt Disney World. One of my favorite overlays of Space Mountain at Disneyland is the Star Wars overlay. I absolutely loved that one. I'd love to see something like it at Walt Disney World in the future, but we're getting closer all the time with the holiday overlay. I love the music and lights, so much fun. The next attraction on our list that has been spooking guests for over 40 years, the Haunted Mansion. Originally appearing at Disneyland, Walt Disney World has a version of the Haunted Mansion that is actually larger and includes more scenes. However, we're still missing one part of it. It's the Hatbox Ghost, which is unique to Disneyland. In addition, Disneyland's Haunted Mansion also has a very special holiday Halloween overlay with Jack Skellington, a lot of fun. However, at Disney World we're starting to incorporate some live characters, so we're getting there. Walt Disney loved steam trains, absolutely loved them, and it's easy to see why. It brings us back to the past, a ton of fun for the entire family, and although we've been without it for a little while, the Magic Kingdom Railroad is iconic. Originally set to reopen in 2021, the Magic Kingdom feels a little bit different without that train, but once it is operational again, we're going to hear the train whistle like always. It's going to feel so good. The last attraction on our list today of attractions that have lasted through the ages is older than Walt Disney World. You're thinking to yourself, okay, there's no problem, we've seen attractions like that before, but this attraction's also older than Disneyland. Huh. Prince Charming's Regal Carousel did open with the Magic Kingdom in 1971, however the carousel itself was purchased and refurbished by the Disney company prior to the opening of the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, simply because it was used somewhere else. They bought it, refurbished it, and put it in the park, older than either park. When you first look at it, you can tell it's a very unique carousel, no doubt about it, but it's not the outer part that makes it unique. Disney did an amazing job with that. It's what's inside. It's over 100 years old. Wow. Those are a few of the attractions at Walt Disney World which have lasted through the ages and continue to bring us joy today. Many of these attractions are well over 40 years old, and my question for you today, do you think they will continue to be around for another 40 years or 50 years in the future? Or do you think there'll be maybe some slight updates, total updates, taking away of any of these? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me today. Until next time, have a magical day.